Welcome to the Sharpe Way. Yes, it is Friday evening at 7 p.m. And what does that mean? It's time for some Sharpe Way stew. Now, some of you think, well, you mean Sharpe Way soup. No, because stew is meatier. And this has got some meat on it. So this is stew, not soup at all. And if you like Sharpe Way stew and you like what we're doing here, then do me a favor, like, comment, share, let people know that we are out there getting this done. Let's get around our media blackout. Let's get around our media blockade. Let's make our own media. Like, comment, share, let people know. And of course, as I bug you every single time, please follow me on Sharpe Way Twitter. I know you love me. I love you too. So show your love. Stop talking. Do some action. And click on Twitter, Sharpe Way. Click on the Facebook page. And click on the YouTube page. I need more subscribers so that people think I'm valuable. I am judged by my likes. So it's important that you like me and subscribe so that I can be an important human being. Otherwise, I am literally nothing. So please, this is social media. It matters. But more important, I have somebody here today. I'm very happy to have someone who also needs likes and stuff too to be important, just like me. He is a comedian. He is a funny guy, friend of mine by the name of Brett Blackham. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. Better than I deserve, as they say.
Oh, I love that. And if you want to follow Brett, head over to, guess what? BrettBlackham.com. No shocker there.
I'm a simple man, Larry.
I love it. Simplicity is good. So tell me, Brett, how are you doing this evening? Tell me something good before we go anyplace else.
Something good.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
My personal life is fabulous and fantastic. And
that's what I want to hear. Nice. Nice.
My wife is good. My kids are healthy. My mother, who's suffering with cancer, is recovering well. And
oh, amazing. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. And my day job, where I'm still able to make money. I know so many people out there are not, and I'm intensely grateful and on the side of people who are being held out of their money-making capacity.
Absolutely. The government has shut us down, but that's not a good thing. I want to go someplace here, and this is going to be a little bit, usually I know this is funny, and that's what we usually do, and we can crack some jokes if you want to, but I actually want to show something that I saw about you, and it's about your mom, and you may or may not know, both of my parents died of cancer.
Really?
Yes. My father, when I was very young, he died of gastrointestinal cancer, and my mother, when she was older, she died of lung cancer, but both passed of cancer. So
I knew your father died young, but I didn't know that's why. So
yes. So I want to, if I could, guys, I want to share something if I can, and I want to share something. And it's a piece that Brett actually put together, and it's about him talking about his mom. And if I got it, it's called A Gift to My Mother. Is that right? Is that the name of it?
Yeah. So that's the video I shot, and I put it on my podcast as well. And it's me reading a talk I gave in church a year ago. I was asked to give a speech for Mother's Day, and where my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and I shaved my head actually to do that walk with her just a little bit.
Absolutely.
I re-recorded that speech, and that's kind of just a gift for my mom. And I put it out publicly so other people, if they have similar circumstances and can appreciate motherhood and womanhood for what it is, they would enjoy that as well.
There we go. Okay, here we go. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Today, I shaved my head for the first time since I was a young man. And it might be the last time. I'm not thinning or balding or anything like that. And the shape is surprising to some of how round it is.
Not that impressive.
Most of my work colleagues thought there would be a dent or a metal plate or something. And they're still confused because nothing apparently explains the problems that I have. And no, I shaved my head because of a simplistic reason.
Tell me.
My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, and after her second round of chemotherapy, her hair fell out, so she shaved her head. And so, simple solidarity with my mama, I did this to myself.
Brett, tell me the truth. Why did you do it?
That's the truth. I don't remember exactly what I said coming up, but I have for a while wanted to see what I would look like bald with a goatee.
Yep.
But it was just to show my mom a little bit how I love her.
Let me ask you a serious question here. When my father was dying, my father was very serious, and he really wanted to live.
Yeah.
I was young. I was a kid, and there was no joy. There was no fun. There was no happiness as part of his death. And I remember that. But when my mom was dying, my mom was older when she passed, and I was older too. I was in my 40s when she passed. And I remember a joy still. I remember funny. I remember cracking jokes. I remember that even though we all were afraid that she was dying, and I hated that she was dying. I had two daughters. They were going to lose their grandma. It was terrible. But I still remember a joy. I remember that. Were you able, when you were doing this, to make something funny out of this and to make it still work? Or was it no?
The answer is yes. As a comedian, generally, I don't know if other comics or entertainers feel this way. I think it's my job to bring some levity to this world.
Yep.
A lot of people deal with very difficult things, and a little bit of going out for a drink and going to a comedy club or to a movie is kind of needed. 2 years ago, my little brother passed away from suicide.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I don't know you knew that, but yeah, and he's only 18 months younger than I am. So it's really different losing someone that close to you, and we grew up in the same house. It's like losing a part of you if you ever lose a sibling.
Suicide's the worst, man.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Yeah. I mean, I've only lost someone to suicide who was not my family. They were a friend, and they weren't even that close, but they were a friend. And still, I felt somehow responsible. I felt guilty. I felt bad for surviving. I felt bad. They were a veteran, and I felt bad.
A lot of people do that, yeah.
I mean,
a lot of people feel like, what could I have done? If I could go back in time, what could I have done to stop that sort of thing? And I think everyone goes through that. And I was actually asked to give a talk at his funeral, and I remember cracking a couple of jokes.
Yep.
And the amount of catharsis that gave from the audience, or from the congregation, it was in a church, but it's an audience still. And I think that helped bond and heal a little faster. And so I do see that as kind of a calling as a comedian, as an entertainer, a little bit of gallows humor while we're waiting to step in the box.
Yeah. You know, when my father passed, I remember, again, somber. When my mother passed, I gave her eulogy. And when I gave her eulogy, I started by talking about what a rebel my mom was as a youth. And my mother was raised in Europe right after World War II. And what she did was, when she was a teenager, her and her band of hooligans went and rang the church bells. And that was such a horrible thing in her day, right? Oh my God, you rang the church bells, that it literally made the local newspaper. That is what a horrible thing these hoodlums were. And I think that really was, that kind of joke or levity that I brought to her eulogy, I think really did help. I agree. I think there is room for comedy in horrible times. I totally agree. And that's why I wanted to show this, because I know this was serious for you. And I know your mom's still going through it. But I wanted people to see that when times are bad, we can still crack a joke or two. And it doesn't mean we disrespect. It doesn't mean we hate. It actually means we're trying to somehow make sense of this and feel better. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. In fact, when tragedies happen, and it's, in our cultural world right now in Minnesota and LA, the things that are going on.
Absolutely.
There are a few things that everyone has. Something that connects. We all are born. We all are going to die.
Yep.
And we all have that sense of humor and connectivity with other people if we can tap into that. And humor is a way to break down those walls and connect with people.
Yes.
And we almost need it like comedy and tragedy. The old drama.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, Shakespeare. That's really close as far as the emotions, and there's irony in comedy sometimes, and leaning that way and going that way with the punchline. There's a lot of similarity to sadness and laughter, and that connects everybody. That's why drama and the arts are so valuable.
Absolutely.
Especially when things are difficult.
All right. I want to keep going if you don't mind. I want to show a bit more.
Please do.
Beautiful, right?
You're not that good
In
looking.
addition, I always wanted to know what I would look like with a
I'm
bald
just
head
saying,
and
you
a
aren't
goatee.
that good
So
looking.
this is it.
Sometimes all we have are our delusions.
John Travolta, I'm told. No, it's an interesting thing in life to have one of your parents be diagnosed with cancer or something that might take their life soon. I don't think that will happen with my mother, but this is a simple thing I could do to show support.
Yep.
And where I may never shave my head again because my locks are so gorgeous.
You are not that good.
I thought I would
man.
give a special gift today because this is maybe the last time we'll ever pass this way looking like this. So
I want to bring up the point that we have now. You know, when someone you love dies quickly, it is, you know, it's better for them, right? Because they don't suffer.
Right. I can see that.
But it's horrible for us because we can't say goodbye and wrap things up. We get no closure. When our loved ones die slowly, it's horrible for them because they're suffering. But it's better for us because we're actually able to gain some closure, say goodbye, try to make something work that maybe didn't work before. We can do that when it takes time for someone to die. And I remember when my father passed, I was a kid, but I remember when I was a kid, I would watch it. My father liked watching the news. I hated watching the news. I was like 11, 12, but I would watch it with him because I wanted to spend that time and connect. And when he finally passed, I actually felt, of course, bad, but I did have a sense of closure that I knew that he loved me and that he knew that I loved him. I mean, it was all there, right? I had that. Yeah. When I see people lose their relatives quickly, I feel bad because they don't have that closure. So I don't know. So like part of me, I remember as being a Marine, we always talked about when we were going to die, right? And we all were hoping that we get hit by a sniper. I know it sounds crazy, but we were all hoping to get hit by a sniper. One shot, lights go out, you don't even hear it. That's how you die. And and if you get hit by a sniper, your body goes home. So your parents get to have a funeral. I mean, that's like the Marine Corps dream. Hit by a sniper, I'm done. And I get a funeral. I know it sounds morbid, but when you're in the Marine Corps, you think about that kind of stuff, right? You just hope that's how it happens. But now as I get older, I actually, it sounds crazy, I hope it takes me some time to die because I want to give my family that closure that I had for both of my parents. I know it sounds terrible, but I actually do think about that now. You, my friend, I think have a gift. I think your mother's illness was a gift because it made you think about all those things and you said your mother's recovering, so you're probably going to get to keep her.
We will.
And you still feel this. This is a gift, man.
Absolutely. These kind of things help you realize that you don't even have tomorrow guaranteed. Today, now, in the moment. That's why, I mean, the cell phones, they're all great and everything. But one of the challenges in life is to connect with the people that are around you and not be just stuck in your own head watching TikTok videos. Not that that's bad, but that's...
my daughter has TikTok. I'm with it. Yes, absolutely.
Right. So that is a challenge in our modern world. To your point, though, of people dying quickly, my brother did not give any indication. He developed schizophrenia later on and mental health issues, and so we knew he was ill. We thought we'd keep him for a long time, though. And the day before he took his life, he made me a handwritten note. He was a poet. He had 2 poetry books he put together, and he wrote it out and signed it in his special way and gave it to me. And I was busy at work. I'm like, oh, cool, great, man. And I set it aside. And I think it ended up getting thrown away. I misplaced it.
No.
And then he died the next day. And that little piece of paper, oh man, that's got some value that I'll never. And he was saying goodbye. He didn't want to tell me because we would have tried to stop him, and he was committed to his action. But I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him. I didn't get to connect the way I would have liked as someone dies over a course of days or months. So your point is a very good one. There's a blessing when you come close to the edge and interview with the reaper, so to speak, and then get to come back for a while. That's what was it? I forget. Is it Nietzsche or someone that said every man has 2 lives? The second one begins when he realizes he only has 1 life.
Yes.
And that's the moment where that comes.
One of my favorite books is a book called The Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi, for those who don't know, was the greatest Japanese swordsman in history. It was a real person. We're not sure exactly how that works, but as a general rule, he was a great swordsman and cared about the code of the warrior, or Bushido. And he talks about the idea that when you become strong, it's because you're already dead, right? Accept that you're already dead. And if you accept that, all that matters is your legacy. That's it. If you accept that fact, all that matters is your legacy. And I've always said, people always tease me and they go, Larry, how do you remember people? How do you remember their stories? How do you remember that? And I say, because I took that and went one step further. And that is, not only do I realize I'm already dead, I also realize everything is ephemeral, except for two things: my legacy, whatever that is, and this right now.
Yeah.
I add the this right now. So I try very hard to connect to people that I'm in front of, because that's what matters. This right now matters. And if I'm really good at this right now, I will by default have a good legacy.
I love that.
They're directly connected.
I actually wrote a book. Sorry, before we get too far away, it was Confucius who said that. Apologies to that guy he's not here to offend, but you know what I mean.
He's going to be pissed off. I'm going to tell him.
He's going to get the katana guy to chop me up again.
I am.
No, I wrote a book. It's a short book. It's like a philosophy book, like a grandfather would want to pass on some stuff to his children. And one of the chapters, I referenced my brother's passing, and I even think, we might have a legacy, but that even at some point that's gone too.
Sure.
One day, I mean, how many people lived? If you lived longer than 400 or 500 years ago, there are only a few stories.
Absolutely.
And the rest of it's just dust in the wind, as the song says. And so today, right now, walking on the beach, watching that sunset, enjoying the smell of the salt air.
100%.
Today's all you have. Even if it's a hard day, even if there's looting and viciousness and
there is
racism and problems, today's all we have. Find some joy.
So Brett, tell me a joke. Find me some joy. Make me laugh. Damn it, you're the comedian.
Want me to make you laugh?
I'm bringing us all down. You got to bring us up now. This is why you're here.
The funniest thing I do is dancing, but that's usually behind the paywall. So I
like that. Got to get paid. Head over to brettblackham.com. Let's get this man paid so he can do some dance for you.
Like my mama taught me, right?
I love that. All right, let me go a little bit further if I can. Because you actually touch issues that make people feel weird, because you touch gender. And that's, a lot of people don't want to do that.
So I will reperform a talk that I performed. And so if you're watching this and you're not religious, just ignore that kind of stuff, because I believe there's a lot of things in my talk that are valuable to every woman out there.
Let me touch that piece that you bring up with religion. There's a lot of people, particularly in the liberty movement, who get upset when we bring up religion. They get angry or upset. I want to be clear about this. A lot of people like religion, and it's fine as long as no one's forcing it on you. Why do you care? If someone's religion makes them happy or makes them better or whatever, why do you care? It's fine. We can live and let live. Even, I mean, unless they're knocking your door saying, you better be my religion or I'm going to put you in jail. Okay, now I got a problem. But unless that's happening, I'm okay with it.
I would answer that critique like this. Religion is a specific set of philosophies, and everything we do is philosophical. And part of the libertarian movement, people will ask me, what's a libertarian? I'm like, it's the opposite of an authoritarian.
I like that.
The problem with religion, whether it's Islam, Christianity, Mormonism, Judaism, everyone can find good philosophies in those books and those teachings. The problem is the gun, the force.
Yes.
You will convert or die.
Yep.
That kind of stuff, that is the problem.
Absolutely.
And I think Jesus you don't have to believe in him as the Son of God or anything like that, like we do. But when people will say that, if Jesus was alive today, he would be a socialist. I laugh, because I mean, that's almost as though you have to read the scripture that Jesus said, render unto Caesar all the things. That's not,
I don't remember that part.
you got to read it again. It's in the Book of Stalin or something.
Yeah, it's in the back. It's in the back.
It's in the back.
Yes.
But the 10 Commandments, and other people have pointed this out over the last decade that I've read, but it's still true. If we have a state at all, the best argument is to maintain the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ass. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Basically, respect for property and person, and any religion that teaches that is a good thing.
I actually don't mind, even if there are strict religions, as long as they're voluntary, right? I mean, I joined the Marine Corps. I sacrificed a bunch of my rights. I lost my First Amendment rights when I joined the Marine Corps. I lost my right to free travel, free movement when I joined the Marine Corps. All right. But I volunteered. I decided that I was okay for 7 years to sacrifice my life, my rights for what I wanted. No worries. If you join even a strict religion that says, you can't eat pork and you can't do work on a Sunday. So what? You volunteered. You think that's good for you. You think that makes sense for you. You think that helps you or helps your family or is the right answer. There you go. No worries. All Absolutely. Good. 100%.
And the problem is the gun, the sword of the state forcing you to not eat pork. Then we have a problem.
Absolutely. I happen to love pork, so I can't join one of those religions. That one I can't join. So sorry. That one I can't do. So yes.
But yeah, I'm going to do this again for my mother. I do have to say, if you were ever looking for something, guys, that would make your mother smile, your wife laugh, and your daughter cry all at the same time, just saying.
I'm not looking for that.
All right,
ever.
Here we go.
In case you wanted it. That's
okay.
My wife recently attended a women's conference where the lecturer showed a video. In the clip, attendees were asked to respond to some questions on a provided document by the presenter. The ladies were told not to write their name, but to be strictly honest with their answers. Then the presenter had the ladies shuffle the papers around the room in such a way that nobody would have been able to reunite the documents with their owners. The presenter then asked the attendees to stand for their sister if she answered a particular question in the affirmative. Do you hate yourself? When the question was asked, almost the entire room stood.
I am actually not surprised by this. When I was watching this, the second the question came up, do you hate yourself? I said, 3 out of 4 are going to stand. 3 out of 4 are going to stand. And the thing that's awkward about this is that we have a lot of people fighting about gender. And what I mean by that is not that people shouldn't be able to identify however they want. I have no issue with that whatsoever. My issue is when someone says there are certain issues and concerns and things that pop up based upon gender, there are so many in our culture who will fight us immediately before saying it. Someone will hear this and go, that's sexist because you say women or a women's group or something like that. And it drives me crazy. Again, it's voluntary. And not just that, it's statistical. Clearly, not every woman feels that way. Clearly, not every woman is, follows into that bell curve. But also clearly, there are a chunk of women who really feel this way. And me, this is going to sound crazy. I'm an executive coach. Well, when the government, my overlords, allow me to work, when my government overlords allow me to work, all praise be to King Andrew in case he's watching. When they in their wisdom allow me to work, I'm an executive coach, and many of the women I coach, they struggle from this. And one of the reasons they use me is sometimes just to pull them out of that mindset.
Yeah, I have to take issue with one thing you said. When the state does something, using the word wisdom to describe it is intensely offensive.
I know, but they might be listening.
Be careful with your language.
I'm sorry. My overlords may be listening. I'm just saying, they're going to be tracking people and stuff. Just, hold on, it's my phone. Hold on, talking to my phone. Yes, the government is awesome. I would love to work today. So yeah, I've got to make sure I cover myself.
We love Big Sister.
There we go. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I really felt this. As soon as it happened, I felt it. So let me keep going.
I will say men have no such problem. This reminded me of a cartoon I saw in another presentation. The cartoon was two-sided. On one side of the cartoon, we see a man who was an obvious fan of butter and cheese.
What's wrong with butter and cheese?
He looks into a mirror, and what does he see? A bodybuilder, handsome, perfect hair, perfect jawline. On the other side of the cartoon, we see a woman, young, attractive, and also looking into a mirror. But what does she see? Shrek, with horrible hair and a soggy jawline.
This also got me. When you brought this up, it got me too, because I was thinking, you know, my daughters and people, I have two daughters, 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. And I try to be, you know, a good dad, obviously. But one of the things that I do, and I'm a real nudge about this, a real nudge, I make sure that when they want something, they ask for it. I will literally not do things unless they ask for it. Even when I know they want it, I will literally say, do you want it? Well, I don't know. So you don't want it. Well, tell me if you want it or not. I will be that forward with my daughters. So that now my oldest will very often say exactly what she wants. And when she says, I don't care, she actually means, I don't care. She doesn't mean, please read my mind and figure out what I want. She doesn't mean that. And you might say, well, that's funny, ha ha, woman stuff. No, that's what you just talked about, Brett. That's a woman, because of our society and culture and what's happened to her in her head, believes she's not worthy and should not ask for what she wants. And men ask for it all the damn time. I do. I just told you, give me money on Sharpe Way. Didn't I just tell you that? I just told you what I wanted, right? I do it all the time. And I'm trying to get my daughters to do that because they are worthy, because they do matter, and they should say what they want. And sadly, a lot of people in our culture, it's not the way it should be.
I appreciate that. My daughter's young. She's 8. So I'm still just worried about when to show her the movie Les Mis and have her explain to me why Fantine's life sucks so hard.
There we go. I love that. Yes.
That's what I'm worried about. But I think that is an important thing to help her be assertive. Yep. And whatever the culture. I've taught my boys this. They're older, but I teach them what Teddy Roosevelt said. Comparison is the thief of joy. Regardless of how attractive or not attractive we are, or how wealthy we are, or how talented we are, there's always someone that's going to be better.
Sure. Better,
taller, faster, stronger. Comparing yourself to anything other than where you want to be is poison. I think setting a goal is okay. Like, I'd like to be as rich as that guy someday.
Sure.
But not say I'm not there. There's a line there as to how to not compare yourself, but to look up to someone at the same time.
Sure. Yeah. That you can strive for something, right? I mean, that doesn't wrong with that. I agree. So, but you use the right word, which is assertive, right? I don't want my daughters to be terrors, right? I don't want them to be that. I wouldn't want my sons to be that either. But I don't have any sons. I only have daughters. But I wouldn't want any of my children to be that way. But I do want my daughters to do that. And some people have gotten upset with me about that, and some haven't. Because they question, like, well, why is it because you have daughters? I'm like, because that's what culture I live in. I didn't make it. I didn't build the culture myself, but that's where we are. So I can be mad about it and shake my fist and maybe go protest, I guess. Meanwhile, my daughters suffer.
Yep.
So I feel righteous and my daughters suffer. Or I can help my daughters to be more successful in their own lives and get what they want, and then they can change the culture themselves.
Yep. There is a great, and this is a religious philosophy, the concept of the word meek. In modern English, meek, M-E-E-K. Just in modern English, it's more that I'm weak and I'm going to fade away from the circumstance. But you look into the meaning of that word and through the translations, meekness is more of having a loaded gun in your holster.
I see.
Assertive and deadly, whether with your words or your fists, but not violent. Like you have the power to produce great harm, and you don't. You're under restraint. That is meekness. And on an intellectual basis, I would love to see every woman out there be able to be assertive, but not be a monster. Men as well. Yep. Like, ask for what you want, and when it's no, do another sales pitch or move on.
So what you're saying is no means no?
Yes, for now.
Oh, whoa! Where'd that come from?
Now, if this is a sales class, you gotta roll over that and ask again, and throw down an ace, and make, okay, I've got $100 bill. How much? No, don't do that. But yeah,
absolutely. I love it. I love it. So good.
Okay, but overbearance and force. Again, the gun is the problem. Force.
Absolutely. This gun thing keeps coming back.
It does.
Chekhov. Did I do a good callback? Chekhov. See,
you did.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a semi-automatic, but that's good.
That means it's an assault rifle. It's probably one of those AR-47 magazine special heat-seeking clips. It's probably what that is. I mean, the gun experts that people are. It's that.
No, it's a meekness rifle. That's what mine is. It's
meekness rifle. Oh, I love it. That's it. All right, we're good. All right, I'm going to go a few minutes forward because I just want to pick up this piece with the male side.
Okay.
I think this is one of the biggest challenges facing motherhood or womanhood. Do you hate yourself? In other words, vanity and pride are constant threats attempting to undermine the self-worth of all women. We have this social media culture where we are ever able to see the filtered good fortune and the perfect superhero level mothering performed by other moms. It's right there. The temptation is to compare our worn out, unwound, behind on the laundry and tired selves to those Instagram filtered images.
Now, this part I love, and I want to talk about this for a bit. This here, to me, is one of the most important bits of the whole thing. Because what we're saying here is because of our social media culture, and I bring this up often, particularly with millennials. It's true with non-millennials, but it's really true with millennials. Think about if you're a millennial, right? You're under 30. You've grown up as an adult in social media, right? I mean, that's I didn't grow up in social media, right? I grew up, I'm in my 50s. I didn't grow up in social media. I barely had a computer, right? So, I mean, the internet didn't exist till I was out of college. Right. So I didn't grow up on that. Right. So, but they did. So they always see, and your point's right, the filter. They don't actually see the actual person. They see that person's avatar. And that person's avatar is amazing and smart and savvy and having a great time and never having a problem. Every single, and always looks good. Oh, how do they do that? And you look at yourself and you go, wait a minute. I'm just human. I'm just human.
That's the lesson. Be a human right here, right now. And you mentioned the bell curve. That applies everywhere. There are only a few 9s and 10s out there. It's okay.
I know. You guys shouldn't be upset that I'm a 10 that you know. It's fine.
Yeah.
It really is okay. That was a bad joke, Brett. You're supposed to help me out in that one.
No, you're good.
You're failing at helping me out when I do my bad jokes. Okay, go ahead.
I love bad jokes. As long as the tag is good, your money, dude.
There we go.
The whole talk, I try to have that theme of forgive yourself and be who you are. And the comparison is the thief of joy. Teddy Roosevelt, man, it takes it right out of your soul. It turns you dark.
All right, so I want to now shift completely.
All right.
I want to shift completely, but it's not a shift. You'll see. There is some method in my madness. I want to watch people succeeding and then failing. And you'll get where I'm going when I show you this. You will get where I'm going with this. All right. To go out. I think I can at least. Can I do it right? All righty. Hold on. All right. Beautiful. And not so beautiful.
Go over there.
No, not so beautiful at all. And beautiful. And ouch. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, it's funny. I know you're laughing. It is funny. It's true. However, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is this connects with both failure and happiness and comparing and also social media, all of those things.
Yeah.
So let me go to the first part I want to bring up. Nothing happens overnight. That first woman who did that amazing, flip into the water, dive, that didn't happen overnight. How many times did she fail and bust her rump or look like a fool or whatever? All those things, right?
Yeah.
She busted her rump to be that good.
Yeah. If I ever hit the level of fame where I'm writing a new comedy special every year, I've got a full hour of bombing on stage on how to
show that.
I think people would laugh at it.
They might. Okay, all right. Look at you. I like it.
I think failure is fine. No, but the first time I did a stand-up on an open mic night, I had a 3-minute joke in my head, and you only get 3 minutes. And I stuttered a little at the beginning, trying to remember the story. I got 0 laughs in 3 minutes, and that's like not getting your car started at a racetrack for an hour. It's just awful. Yeah. And this MC came up and he gave me a little more time. I'm like, oh, I'm almost there to the end. And he had to take the mic out of my hand.
Yes, but that's my point, right? The problem is so many of us are afraid to fail. Mm-hmm. So we do nothing.
Yeah.
And this goes actually back to your other piece about the idea about the women who, if they can't be perfect, why bother? And then they give up. And instead of that woman trying to simply be the best mom, the best wife, the best worker, the best boss, the best sister, the best mom, the best insert all the parts of her life that are important to her, instead of just trying to best one of that, she says, I can't be as good as these people, these avatars I see, so I surrender. And I do nothing well, and I freeze.
You've really hit on something I think is important as well. The fear of failure is so poisonous. Like, who taught us that failure was bad? Like,
there's a whole thing on the internet that tells us fail army. There's an army of failure. This literally called the fail army. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't just. Fear in general is bad, or anxiety. I put that in one of my chapters as well in my book, that there's never a good time to panic. Mm-hmm. If you're, like when they say it in the movies, oh, now's a good time to panic. No, it's not. If you're being chased by a predator, you need your wits. I mean, if you don't run away from a snake in a jagged line, it won't go well for you. And you don't challenge a gorilla. You have to do things differently.
So you don't try to fight a gorilla one-on-one?
No, that's not going to go.
I am so glad we had this talk.
If you decide to, don't be fearful. Do your best, but it's not going to go well.
I'll just punch him real hard.
That'll work.
That'll work. So, yeah.
But the point is, fearing failure is very poisonous, and there's never a good time to panic. So it's good to train ourselves to not. Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. Excuse me.
I'm doing an interview.
You have the key to my house.
I do.
You better give him the key to his house. What are you doing?
Sorry, Larry. I stole the key to my dad's house. That's Dave.
Hey, Dave. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, that's Larry Sharpe.
Wow. Nice to meet you.
Hey, good to see you.
All right. Hope things go well. Thanks.
Yeah.
All righty.
He's a rancher.
I love it. All good. People are people. It's all good. Yes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But my point that I'm going to talk is when you first the first step that this creates is doing nothing, right? But then here comes the worst part. Now I'm a person. This is male and female. We were talking about female, but it's male too, right? Now all of a sudden I want to be this great person like other people I see, but I feel I can never achieve that greatness. So why bother? So I spend my time watching TV or playing video games or doing the things that basically suck up time. I become frozen. I become paralyzed, even though I'm not physically paralyzed. I simply don't move forward.
Well, that's
now, say again?
That stuff is like a drug.
Yes.
It's like a dopamine hit to your brain. And that's like marijuana or a little bit of cocaine or alcohol or something. It's a distraction. It's a way to push down the pain of not pursuing something great.
Yes. And there's a big difference between saying, I like video games, so I'll play them on the weekends as a distraction to take away from my daily grind that is very hard on me, right? That's a thing to do. And many people use that for that type of reason versus going, I don't want to even try to achieve anything, so I'll just live my life through a video game or through a drug or through a hobby or whatever that thing is. But here's the worst part, Brett, is once you spend a certain amount of time doing that, now you have the worst, absolute worst emotion a human can have, regret. And when you have that regret turns into self-hatred, and self-hatred turns into now not just paralyzing, but self-destructive behavior.
Yeah.
And now you start hurting yourself.
Of all sad words of tongue and pen, these are the saddest. It might have been.
Yes.
You're right. That kind of stuff can cause a downward spiral. And then going back to religion, the concept of a savior is you're going down the wrong road. In a literal sense, all you need to do is take a step toward the light. And now you're on the path back to recovery or redemption.
Absolutely.
And you're not religious. You're in your psychology of training your body to do what your mind wants. There's a lot of connectivity there. But yeah, that's a very powerful thing for people to learn.
100%, right? If you want to be successful in anything you're doing, you got to feel like you're going in the right direction, right? That's the first thing. You got to feel like that, right? 100%. Yeah, Michael says they have video game addictions. Yeah, just like you said, right? Of course, people can use any escape as an addiction, whatever that thing might be, to include video games. It could be. I don't want to take a dump on video games, though. I mean, I want to take a dump on someone escaping their entire life. Yeah, that's bad, no matter what you use.
I think both of us are on the same wavelength. I'm not trying to knock on video games or drinking alcohol or even those bad drugs, cocaine and stuff. I think if that's your escape, it would be fine. It's when people are using those things, then stuff like methamphetamines and cocaine really wrecks your life because of the crash in your mind. But anything, pornography, just watching movies all day.
Sure. Netflix can be an addiction.
Yeah, any of that stuff might be fine in moderation, but using it all the time to cover the pain, that can cause problems. I think that's where we're trying to condemn.
And I think we find the male-female dynamic, right? You find more women who attempt suicide, statistically, right?
Yeah.
But men are more successful.
Right.
Right? You find that. And many times it's at one point they move from being paralyzed to doing self-destructive behavior. And the worst part about when a mom does it, and I know this is going to sound sexist, but I'll say it anyway. When a mom does it, it's extra painful because the mom still, in most families today, is the rock of the family. Yeah. And when the mom becomes self-destructive, she winds up destroying the entire family. In most cases, not every case, obviously, right? In not every case is the mom the rock. But in most families in America today, it's still true, right? If that happens, all of a sudden she winds up. And the worst part is that's exactly the opposite of her goal.
Yeah.
The opposite of her goal is to destroy the family, and she winds up destroying the family.
How much time do we have to talk on that?
Exactly. Dave, this is a good addiction. Watching me is a very good addiction. That is the exception to the rule. That is not addiction. That's completely normal. Absolutely.
Spend all your money chasing that addiction, everybody.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Give Larry your money. He needs to get some libertarians into office.
But voluntarily. That's all. No gun. Voluntarily.
No gun. Involuntarism. Yeah. But what's that old saying? The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Yes.
And if you think about sexual interaction between men and women, men are like other animals in the animal kingdom. We offer our services on a reproductive basis, and the women filter. No, 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 yes. They're choosing their mate and their children for the most part. Obviously, rape and stuff like that and coercion is evil. We don't want any of that. But
of course, absolutely.
In a normal sense, females choose who they're going to be with and how they're and whether they have a solid family or a mess of a family. And I don't think that's a lot of weight to put on a young girl at 14 to be teach her, hey, Fontine's life sucked because she bought a line from a handsome guy who disappeared on her. Make better decisions than Fontaine in that Les Mis movie. If you haven't seen Les Mis, go watch it. It's a good story, or read the book.
No. I get what you're saying, and I think we have to realize that, the decisions that we make really are going to affect us in the long run. And I guess I want to bring up the point of the failure again. Hold on. I want to bring up David's comment. He makes a very valid point. If you're trying to escape your real life, it's time to change your life. David's right. Right? I mean, that should be it. You should be looking, going, wow, I'm spending my entire life not in my life, escaping my life. Maybe I should change my life. I think you're totally right. But the hardest part goes,
David Green needs to be a life coach. That was a good line.
See that, David? I like that. The hardest part is what you said, though. If I want to change my life, and the example I will often use is watch the TV shows about people who are in trouble, like My 600-Pound Life and stuff like that, right? They have to first make that pivot towards the right path for them, whatever that path is. And when they make that turn, if they don't get immediate gratification, they often go right back to the old path because that feels better in their brain. And I often make this example that your brain is like a forest, right? And this is a very crude analogy, but I hope it lands with people who are watching. Your brain is like a forest, and the deep, thick forest, the things you've been doing is like a machete, and you've been chopping down and opening up a path in the forest. And the more you've been doing it, the more that path opens up. The less trees are there, the easier it is to walk up and down that path. There's nothing in the way. It's a beaten path. In fact, now it's wide. It's easy, clear. There's no animals there. It's great. And then some guy says, Brett, that's the wrong path, man. You got to go this way. Well, there's not even a path yet. You're going to pull your machete out, chopping stuff down, fighting through that. Well, it's hard. There's this great, cool, big path right here. It's beaten down. It's open. It's wide. It's easy. I'll go down that path. But if you actually do fight down and chop that down and keep going down that path and make that path an open, beaten path, the other one grows over.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one is no longer an easy path anymore. And I think that's something we have to work on.
That is a great analogy about habits and what to do. I heard this from, I can't remember, but it's an important point. Doesn't matter who said it. That
it's Confucius. It's fine.
It's probably Confucius. But it doesn't matter how motivated you are. Motivation is worthless. What matters is discipline. Again, back to the bell curve. Some days you'll be so motivated, it'll be crazy. And some days you don't want to do anything but play Fortnite.
Yep.
And then the rest of the days you're kind of in the middle.
Yes.
Shelf motivation. It comes, it goes. You can jack yourself up with music or make yourself sad with a scary movie. Sad movie. But anyway, that discipline. Every day I'm going to do this thing. And then 3 months, you can plow a new trail in that forest and the other one will overgrow. Maybe
Absolutely.
6 months.
Yeah. Maybe longer, but it's fine. I get what you're saying. But so I then want to go to the next piece, which is the failure that we talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Not only is it okay to fail, it's required to fail. The problem is the second that you fail now, you do something wrong, you make a mistake, you say the wrong words, you say the wrong phrase, whatever, you're on social media forever with that fail. That poor kid who did his belly flop, that belly flop is now forever.
Yeah.
Right? And the problem is, can that kid now who did the belly flop, can he get over it? If that was a belly flop and no one saw it, who cares? He pretends it never happened, he moves on. But now we have a harder part, and this is a society that I am very concerned about as a father, as a human being, as just anybody. It's this zero tolerance mindset. At the second you make an error, you are now not even worthy of life. You're not worthy of a career. You're not worthy of anything. What happens, you get people, and I go back to 2016. I'm going to get political. You know I had to, but I'm going to get political. This gave us those two types of people. It gave us Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, who wouldn't say anything if she didn't believe it was tested and people would like it, and it was what did polling say, right? Wouldn't say anything that was that's one side one, and then side two is Donald Trump, who would apologize for nothing, because the second you apologize, the world looks at you like you're guilty and punishes you. So you know what? Double down on everything. I know I called him a jerk. He's a triple jerk, and so's his mother. I mean, that's just what we do. And I'm trying to get around from that.
I think you've hit that is something that is that bothers me as well. I mean, I was raised Christian, as we've already been there, and the concept that Jesus taught was God's going to forgive whom he will forgive, but we're commanded to forgive all men, all mankind, all women too. So when someone apologizes, like, all right, I misstepped. I stepped in poo. I'm going to stop walking around. I apologize. I'll change my shoes. Okay, I forgive you. Let's move on. There's none of that. I think
I know.
Part of the reason is because it's political. And this is I'm an economics nerd, so forgive me for that. But
I forgive you.
When there's a central bank that can print money, all of a sudden the most valuable thing that you can do in the economy is not research and development. It's not hiring talented employees. It's lobbying the government for a special privilege
Yep.
to act as that printing press.
Yep.
So the more they do the central banking printing of money, the more vicious people who are dependent on that money will be.
Yes.
I hope I'm wrong about that, but that was
you're right.
by an economist, and I don't see that going any direction but exactly how he predicted, all the way to the currency crash. Just people being more vicious, unforgiving, taking every moment to spark gender division, racial divisions, cultural divisions. And
the worst part is when you do those things, you also make the real problems become irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right. I just, when it comes to the sexual harassment world that we now have ourselves in, if someone harasses a woman, and in this case, a male harasses a woman, that's a horrible thing. He shouldn't do it. He should be punished for it. No question.
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, it's not rape. Right.
No,
but I'm serious.
Not.
Right. It's not rape. It is sexual harassment, a bad thing that you shouldn't do and you should be punished for. Agreed. No question. I'm just saying, also, it's not rape. If we begin to make the zero tolerance that any misstep is now rape, women who are actually raped actually lose.
That is a great point.
There are women who are actually physically raped and abused and devastated, and they take this with them for their entire life. They are scarred for their life. I know many women who've gone through this. It is horrible for them. They never lose that. They take that to their grave, right? Yeah. And that's not harassment. Both are bad, but if we create that perfection culture, then any misstep is now rape, and they're different, and you wind up hurting the women who have actually been raped.
Yeah, here's another economics reference again. I remember who did it, Milton Friedman. He was answering a question once about racism, and the question was, should there not be a government program that forces people not to be racist in their hiring policies? Mm-hmm. And his answer was, no, there should not, because if someone is an evil racist, then the best recourse for let's say is racist against Latinos or something, the best recourse for the Latino person is to say, all right, I'll work for $2 less an hour. And now the racist boss has to hire someone he has to pay a premium for his racism. And that was the economic argument. But beyond that, rape has a specific definition and it's pure evil. Racism has a specific definition and it's pure evil. If those kind of things, like prejudice of any sort, but if you spread out and dilute if you just notice someone that, oh, that guy was black, oh, that's so racist. Like, no, if you spread out that meaning, then the real rape, the real racism, the real viciousness that some people have at the tail end of that bell curve, that gets diluted.
Yes.
Something different. And that kind of needs to go away. I would love to see that go away in the culture.
Absolutely. Sam says, perfection culture has burned students and teachers too. Hence, everyone gets A's because giving a B ruins kids' futures. Look at that. Look at that. I don't want everyone getting an A, because now the kid who really deserves the A, his A is worth less.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a kid who busted his rump to get the A. She gets the A, and then the knucklehead who just happened to be around, they don't want to make him mad, they give him the A. Well, why'd she bust her rump? She should have just sat home and played video games.
What's that old trope where they have the teacher take all the marks of the class and everyone gets the same score, and the first test everyone gets a B, and then the smart kids stop studying, and then the C students don't study at all, and then everyone fails the rest of the semester, and they say, welcome to socialism.
I like that. Very good. I love that.
the point to, I forgot his name, the guy who just made that comment, is this. I think it goes back to Marxism and the delusion that everyone's the same. Nothing more false. We're not all the same.
Right.
If you've ever talked to a genius person, you know. You talk to an average dude like me, you know. You talk to a complete moron, you know. Everyone's a little different. Not LeBron James being that fast, that athletic at 6'9.5" is batshit crazy. Forgive my language.
Yeah. No. I mean, he's almost as athletic as me. I agree. Almost.
Yeah, I've seen you jump buildings. It's fine. I don't know. The tights, you can lose those, whatever. But the point is, we're all different. We're all different heights. We're all different intellects, different capacities. I watched Wayne Brady just make up a song off the cuff. Like, I could never do that. That is genius right there.
Well, so there's the issue that we have here, and I bring this up when I do my teachings, when I teach people about leadership. There's a difference between equal leadership and fair leadership. Equal leadership is actually lazy. It's actually bad. It treats everyone exactly the same. That's not good.
There you go. Yeah.
Fair leadership is giving each person what they need to succeed at that time with what they're doing. That's fair leadership, right? Sometimes if I'm your boss, Brett, and you're doing something you've done for the past 5 years, you've been doing it for 5 years, you don't need my help, right? At that point, I'm like, Brett, good to go. See you in a month, right? You got this. But then it's something new you haven't done before. So now, now you're like, boss, I haven't done this before. Okay, you need a little hand right now. I got you. So I'll give you a hand. And maybe it's something you've never done ever. Maybe I need to keep giving you a hand for a while. Or maybe 2 times you're good. It doesn't matter. The point is, I've got to shift my leadership. And government and society should be the same.
I've had bosses do it the opposite. Like, here's a new thing. Figure that out for me. And then they tell me to do the exact thing I've done for 20 years over and over and over.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But government should be the same, right? And when I talk to people, and you brought up socialism, right? Here's the reality. The average person, particularly a youngster, there's a reason why I call youngsters anybody under 30. So I'm sorry if I insulted you if you're under 30. I apologize. But my point being, most people who are millennials or in that world, think about where they grew up. They grew up after the crash, right? 2009. Right, so when they went into the workforce, nothing for them. They just started to build up, and what happens? Trashed again with COVID. They can't get a break, right? They're all in debt for college. Their college education was garbage, and it cost them $100,000, $50,000. They're all in debt. How do they feel? You know what looks good to them right now? Socialism. Yeah. And the reason why it looks good to them is not because they want to take people's stuff. It's because they believe that it's fair. They have confused equality with fairness. They are 2 separate issues. And if we're going to be able to get the liberty message out, we've got to be able to express it through fairness versus equality.
I love that. There's another thing, again, economics nerd. Whenever you use force to do anything, you'll get the opposite effect. If anyone who hears the sound of this just goes and looks up the cobra effect. I won't go into that right now, but it's a story and it's an analogy of how when you use the state to solve a problem, the problem gets worse over time.
Yeah.
So if you look at things like college education, healthcare, home ownership, banking, they're actually the most socialist elements of our economy. The government owns not all of it to provide things, but they regulate it and they subsidize things. Yep. And those things are way more expensive compared to inflation than the things where the government just lets people make trades and sell and buy stuff from one another.
Yes.
If we can teach people that the problem with the housing market was not capitalism or private ownership and free trade, it was having a Marxist central bank. Yep. The fifth plank of the Communist Manifesto is government banking. That's what gave the incentive. And then you also have the banks saying, oh, we need certain minorities percentage-wise to own. Well, if you're not ready for a house, you shouldn't be buying a house. Those kind of policies to try to help people along using the government makes the problem worse over time.
There's something you're missing, though. And the point you're missing is that violence is a very good short-term answer.
Yeah.
If you're looking short-term, violence actually works. I don't have any money. Pull out my gun. Brett, give me your wallet. I now have money. Short-term solution. right? In a
Yep.
long term, we got a problem. But short term, I didn't have money. I do now.
Yep.
I look at it in the China, one child family. Great idea. Short term, we have a problem with our population. Let's use force to make sure that there's only one child per family. Short term, totally worked. Absolutely, totally worked. Long term, disaster.
Yeah.
You now have a culture that has made girls worth even less. There were literally lakes that would have signs that would say, "Please don't drown your daughters here." Not because they didn't want you drowning your daughters, just not here because it was drinking water. Drown them someplace else so you can go get your boy. That's what. And not just that. You have villages now in China, 3-to-1 male to female ratios. Short-term home run, long-term massive damage.
Exactly. So that is a perfect encapsulation of what I was trying to get across. And that actually reveals the best business opportunity in the world right now, but prostitution in China. We got to.
There we go. Look at you. Are we starting a business? Are we doing this?
There's an angle if they don't donate to you. We'll see what we do.
I love it. I love it.
That's the challenge as a non-authoritarian, to progress toward voluntarism, to get away from the immediate gratification, pull out a gun or a sword and get your way right now, and to hell with the future. That's got to go away or we'll make a bigger mess.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this is Sharpe Way Stew. I didn't really talk about it. We're yapping so much. I hope you like, comment, and share. And I'm going to bug you one more time. Head over to Twitter right now. Stop looking at these two handsome men and click on the follow. Follow me on Sharpe Way. Follow me on Larry Sharpe Facebook, right? The Sharpe Way with Larry Sharpe. Follow me on my YouTube. Subscribe. It matters. Click that bell so you get notifications, because then I'll feel like you love me. Even if you don't, you can ignore it, but I still feel it. And lastly, if you've got more cash than money or more money than cash, more time than money or more money than time, right? If you got more time than money, no worries. Like, comment, share, do those things. If you got extra cash, throw it my way. Head on over to patreon.com/sharpeway. Throw me $5, $10, $20, whatever you got. If you're one of those rich guys that we're all jealous about, throw me $500 a month if you're that rich. I will tell people how rich you are if you do that. So do that and we'll be fine. No worries. It's important. All righty, guys. I want to make sure. Is there anything you want to chat or talk about before we go?
I vote libertarian. We've got to get away from authoritarian ideas. And if you liked some of the stuff I had to say, I've got a Twitter handle at Brett Blackham.
There we go.
Instagram. I've got my book, Absorb the Arrow, it's called, on Amazon. And maybe they'll open the comedy clubs one time, but you can go to my website, brettblackham.com, and you can actually book me to do private shows and that sort of thing.
There we go.
Dancing is still behind the paywall. Sorry,
okay.
Gotta do.
Hey, if you want to see the handsome man, you got to pay for it. That's what I'm saying. All right. All right, my friends. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. I will see you all next week on The Sharpe Way.